So Steve Cooper drops Morgan Gibbs-White and the happy clappers have lost their minds over it. Was he right to do it? And let's get into Forest 1, Brentford 1. Welcome to your analysis. All right, guys, so there are three main talking points I want to go through on this video today off the back of Forest 1, Brentford 1 yesterday. The first of which is going to be Morgan Gibbs-White and the hysteria that has broken loose over it. And of course, I want to know what you think about it down in the comments below. We're going to talk about Matt Turner, as there has been a turn on Turner, no pun intended, about what he did yesterday and whether or not he should be dropped for Lackademus. And is this new style of football the way to go with Nottingham Forest? Because again, there's a bunch of happy clappers saying, we want low block back. So let's get into all of this. So let's start with the Morgan Gibbs-White hysteria that's happened with the game yesterday. And I've got to say, one, I was shocked, but pleasantly shocked that Steve Cooper dropped Morgan Gibbs-White. Not because I don't like Morgan Gibbs-White, not because I think he needs to leave the club. I'm still one of his biggest fans. In fact, so many of you guys would accuse me of having MGW goggles. However, I think it shows evolution in Steve Cooper. And I've been a big critic over Steve Cooper. I ain't hiding behind that fact, and I still will be if he gets things wrong. But when he does things right, I always praise him for doing it. And dropping Morgan Gibbs-White is probably one of the best things that has happened this season. Irregardless of what you're hearing on Twitter, on Facebook, on whatever social platforms you go on, look at the difference in how Morgan Gibbs-White came back onto that pitch yesterday. He came back angry. He came back determined. People are going on about how he tracked back and saved us a goal. All these things are solely because he got dropped. He had to have his knuckles wrapped because it was too comfortable for him at Nottingham Forest. He was always the first name on the team sheet. He would never get substituted off at all, and things were becoming very, very easy going for him. And in my opinion, I don't care if Stuart Pearce relaced up his boots and came back into the Forest team. He still should not be guaranteed a place in the team. No player is bigger than the club or bigger than the team sheet or bigger than selection. And that's why, it's one of the reasons why I was so annoyed about Scarpa going to Olympiacos, because Morgan Gibbs-White's only competitor in the squad is Aguilera, and he's not ready for the Premier League. So I have to give Cooper complete kudos on dropping Morgan Gibbs-White. Never, ever did I think he would do it. Now, he came out afterwards, and the reasons he said was he needed to be rested. He's had a busy summer in the England's under-21s, etc. And these are all points that we've made here on FFTV, and I'm in full agreement with Cooper. I do feel he kind of dialed it down a little, but you have to expect that from a manager. And so for me, he got it right. Now, all the happy clappers that are against this, and it's not just happy clappers, to be honest, there is a section of the fan base that are quite, level-headed in their views, are saying that he should never be dropped. He should always be the first name on the team sheet, and we have no creativity without him. I'm not arguing with that creativity point. I'm not. I think he is our most creative player. He's probably our most talented player. But I'll give you the example of Manchester United and Rashford. Look at Rashford, 30 goals last season, 0 form this year. And the Man U fans know that he needs to be dropped. But Ten Hag doesn't have the kahunas to drop him, and his form is getting worse and worse for them. And with Cooper being able to do that, it shows you that he's thinking about the bigger picture of the team, which is way, way more important. Yes, it did cost us creatively on the pitch yesterday. Yes, there was that link-up play between the midfield and the attack that was missing. There is chemistry between Taiwo and Morgan Gibbs-White. But for the betterment of the team, it was important to do. Now, if I was going to criticize it, my criticism would have been he should have done it in the Man City game, where we weren't going to win that game. where he was going to be ineffective because Man City were going to dominate the ball as they did in the first half. And that would have put his nose out, and then we would have seen the benefit of it in Brentford. But the fact that he's done it for me is a huge, huge plus point. And I have to give Cooper 100% credit on this. Now, the question is, did it cost us the match? Because people are saying when Morgan Gibbs-White came on, there was a change in the dynamic. Him and Tuffalo changed the way the game went. At the end of the day, the honest answer is you'll never know. You'll never know. But the longer term gain, I think, will outweigh the smaller term loss that we had yesterday for it. But what are your thoughts on this Morgan Gibbs-White saga? Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, point number 2 I want to talk about from the game is Matt Turner. Matt Turner, who came from Arsenal for 7 million, who has been really good for the opening 6 games and then had an absolute stinker yesterday. Matt Turner, who I will ask you guys, because I know the answer from a lot of you. They've all said, and you guys have all said, keep him in. He's going to be better than Vlachodimos. He started really well. Dean Henderson, who? You know, comments like that I've been seeing. And Matt Turner, for me, has been growing on me personally. I did always say throughout the summer, when we signed Vlachodimos and Turner, that Vlachodimos is clearly going to be the number 1. And Cooper is probably looking for that mistake from Matt Turner, which will allow Vlachodimos into the goal. But the point here is there is suddenly, again, a huge turn in opinion on Matt Turner. And a lot of people are saying drop him because of the mistakes he made yesterday. Where do I stand on this one? I think it would be harsh. I think it'd be harsh if he got dropped because he had a fluffy game yesterday. And I think he should be given one more game to the international break and then tag Vlachodimos in for the Luton game. Because I don't think it's fair just to chuck him out and destroy his confidence. Now, the counter argument for that is who cares about his confidence? All we care about is the results on the pitch, and I understand that. But I still do think Vlachodimos will end up being Forest number 1. But I think the change time will be better suited if it happens after the international break. There's been a little, 2-week period with no games, and then that can happen. But what did interest me about this Turner debate last night on the social media platforms was how quickly people change their minds. And I think everyone is entitled to do that. I do it all the time. But I think it's harsh to forget how good Matt Turner has been and how consistent he has been throughout the season so far. And this one game shouldn't define him in goal for Nottingham Forest. So do I get sentimental about these things? No. If Cooper does drop him for Crystal Palace, that's fine with me. You'd understand it. But I think a cleaner break for me should be after the international break, after the Palace match. But what do you guys think on that? Would you drop Turner now, or would you wait till after the international break? Get your thoughts in down below. So the third discussion point from yesterday's game is, of course, this attacking, free-flowing style of football versus low block. And there again has been a section of the fan base saying, we don't get points unless we go low block because then we create the space in the opponent's half to get in behind them and score our goals. We're too toothless when we play, tick-a-tack of football as we did yesterday and as we did against Burnley. So the real question is, should we be going back to low block or should we be sticking with this new process that Cooper seems to be trying to implement? Your thoughts are more important than mine, but let me share mine with you guys. For me, what I saw yesterday in the first half and what I saw for those first 28-30 minutes against Burnley is how Forest should be evolving to play. This is football. That is how football should be played. The ball on the ground, passed around, trying to create chances. I fully agree with the people who are saying we looked toothless in front of goal yesterday. We had, 0 shots on target in the first half. For all our fancy football, for all the fancy passing, for all the possession, it resulted in no shots on target. However, the point here is going from low block to attacking football is not a straightforward process. You can't just flick a light switch and have it happen overnight. For all of those people who turned to me and the likes of me last season and said, have patience with the process, have patience, it will come good. I will send that message back to them now and say to them, have patience with this process, because if this is the process that Cooper's going to go down, and we won't know till we've seen a few more games, then you need to have patience with this process, because this is what we were crying out for. Well, I can speak on my behalf last season. To see signs of progression, to see signs of an identity, to see signs of a style of football that I can get behind. And if Cooper is going to implement this, I am fully behind what he's doing and what the club are doing. And more importantly, what people need to understand is that Marinakis has pumped in over £200 million in the last year and a half, if you like, since we've been back in the Premier League. And he is a person who admires good quality football. The style of football is just as important to him as the results. If you don't believe me, go and read back on the statement that he released after the Leeds game when it looked like Cooper was right on the brink. And I guarantee you that Marinakis will be looking at the style of play. And this is why I think Cooper is changing and trying to evolve his philosophy as well as the team's philosophy. So I expect this to continue. Now, in 3 or 4 games' time, if Forest are trying to implement this and we're getting L after L after L, then questions will need to be asked. They really will. But if you're seeing the process and the evolution of it happening in front of your eyes, then why not back it? My problem is, when we were playing low block football, offering nothing going forward, and then still losing matches, what have we gained? What have we gained? But now, if you can start to see these seeds being embedded into the team, these wonder players coming in like Sangare, like Dominguez, these types of players that can really turn Forest and take Forest to that next stage, then this is exactly what I've been crying out for 12 months. I know a lot of people were disappointed with the result yesterday, and I was too. We did drop 2 points, in my opinion. Brentford are not a good football team. They themselves look toothless, and without their brown envelopes again at the City Ground, they probably should have come away with nothing themselves. But more importantly, on Forest, if this is the process and the path we are starting to go down, then I'm all for it. That midfield yesterday, that combo of Sangare, Dominguez and Mangala is a cracking midfield 3. And with still Danilo to come back from injury, you still got Ryan Yates, who apparently has got a hamstring injury, to come back as a backup. I don't think he gets anywhere near the starting 11, but as an impact sub, as I've always said, he will be brilliant. Then look at that defensive lineup. Murillo, a kid coming in, looking like an absolute unit, playing brilliantly yesterday. Yes, there was mistakes. I called them out in the player ratings, but it was his first game. And if he's adapting that quickly, God only help us in a couple of years when he's really developed into a full centre-back. You got Niakate, who's being slated today. Slated. Apparently he causes mistakes. Apparently he's untrustworthy. Coming from the same people who defend Joe Worrell to the death and will not say a word about his mistakes and his errors. Niakate has made 2 errors in his Nottingham Forest career. The penalty against Newcastle and the double yellow yesterday against Brentford. Outside of that, he hasn't put a foot wrong. And let's not forget the weapon he has from throw-ins as well. There are too many positives from him. And on top of that, he was playing out of position yesterday. So don't give me any of this crap that Niakate is a liability. I will not hear it. But the point here is we have strength in depth in the defensive region as well. We've got Omar Bamadeli, who hasn't even taken the grass yet. You've got Felipe, who's still not back. You've got Murillo and Niakate. And we've got great wingbacks in Einar, Montiel, Aurier. A really strong squad. Where we are definitely lacking, though, is up front in that winger position. And again, it goes back to why did we get rid of Scarpa? It makes no sense. So overall, my final message here is that this project is starting to take shape. Yesterday for me, although disappointing with the result, had huge good signs of where this team can develop with. And it is now up to Cooper to knit to this together quickly. And it is up to us as the fans to see what he's trying to do. And if this is the direction he wants to go in, I'm all in. Get your thoughts in down below. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Forest Fan TV. We'll be live tonight at 7 with Grumpy Old Reds, and I got a special gift coming your way. Do not miss it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you tonight. Come on, you Reds.